My beloved child, today I call you to pause and behold what has just unfolded in the heavens. A partial eclipse has passed, but do not think it is merely a play of the stars, a brief moment for people to talk about and soon forget. No, my child, that phenomenon is a sign, a warning, written across the sky to stir souls who have been drifting in the sleep of indifference. Since the morning of creation, I have used the sun, the moon, and the host of stars to mark seasons' appointed times and great events. Gen 1:14. They not only illuminate the earth, but also bear witness to my eternal work, so that you may understand that every movement in the material realm echoes a sacred meaning in the realm of the spirit. When you see the moon glide across and obscure the sun, let your heart open to the mystery hidden within. For just as the blazing light of the sun can be momentarily veiled, so my truth can be covered by the darkness of doubt, pride, and unbelief in human life. Yet light never truly vanishes. It is only temporarily hidden, only to blaze forth again with an undimmable power. Remember my word, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. The eclipse is a pictorial lesson that you may know, even in the darkest moments, the light of mine still endures, and I am still guiding all things. Child, this eclipse did not occur by chance at this hour in history. It is not merely a natural spectacle nor a meaningless coincidence. It is a signal within my great plan, a plan that began before all ages and is drawing toward fulfillment. The world staggers. Nations tremble before trials, and human hearts are drowned in fear and confusion. But rather than see this event as a calamity, I want you to receive it as a reminder that I still reign, that my hand has never loosened its grip upon the helm of history. When the sun is obscured, remember that I am the true light, the light that never fades even if every star in the sky should fall. Ask your own heart, why do I allow this eclipse to cross the sky? Why do I place it before your eyes so you cannot ignore it? It is to rouse you from the intoxication of power, honor, or the false security you think you hold. The eclipse is my knocking at the door of your soul, reminding you that this world is not your permanent home, that there is a reality above all civilizations, all systems, and all earthly kingdoms. I am the one who holds life, and every sign I write in the universe points your soul back to that source. Lift up your head and see the sky is not an unknowing curtain, but a page upon which I write the chapters of redemptive history. The movements of the planets are not outside my intention. Their ordering reflects eternal wisdom. This eclipse is an invitation to step out of your comfort and behold the world with the eye of faith. Do not treat it as a superstitious omen. Understand that I am using nature itself to instruct you that the time grows urgent, that history is turning a great corner, and that every soul must awaken. Therefore stay awake, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. Matt 2:4-4-2. Some will smile and say it is mere coincidence. Others will mock and call it the illusion of the superstitious. But know this: rejecting a sign does not make the truth go away. Just as those in Noah's day laughed when he built the ark under a clear sky until the flood came and swept all away, Gen 7:7, so it is now many will ignore the warning and then be astonished when calamity comes. I do not want you among them. I want you to listen, to open your heart, and to let the signs from heaven awaken you from indifference. My beloved, let this eclipse become a mirror for your own soul. There are seasons in life when the light I give seems to be veiled by disappointments, wounds, or trials. Yet do not forget that this light is not lost. It waits only for the moment to burst forth again, stronger and more radiant. Just as after every eclipse the sun shines brilliantly once more, so after every season of testing your faith will shine more brightly if you remain faithfully holding my hand. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you with my righteous right hand, is 4110. I speak to you, the eclipse is not merely a phenomenon, but a living metaphor for the journey of humanity. At times, the darkness will seem to cover all. At times, evil will appear to prevail. At times, your faith will seem on the verge of dying out. But remember that darkness exists only insofar as there is light for it to obscure. When the darkness passes, the light will reveal the invincible power it bears. Let this be your hope so you will not lose heart amid the hard days. My child, I want you to know that what happens around you is never disjointed or accidental. Every event in history, every movement of nations, every choice of leaders, all are woven into the frame I stretched from the foundation of the world. You may see the world like a tangled carpet of light and shadow, but from my vantage, every thread is connected and contributes to a complete picture. The eclipse you witnessed is not merely to astonish you. It reminds you that this universe operates according to a design, and that design is moving toward the goal I have ordained. Remember that human history has repeatedly passed through shocks that seemed insurmountable. Empires rose and fell. Mighty kingdoms turned to dust. Those who thought themselves invincible bowed before unseen power. From mighty Egypt to proud Babylon, from glorious Rome to modern empires, all are but brief chapters in the vast book I am writing. No matter how far they stretch their dominion, they cannot escape the current of God's will. All nations before him are as nothing. They are accounted by him as less than nothing and emptiness. Is 4015. I tell you, no nation, however great, stands outside the grand picture I paint by my power. Look at current events. You see nations shaken by economic crises, wars erupting, climates changing, diseases spreading. Many think these are merely the natural consequences of greed and human error. Indeed, humanity bears responsibility, but understand that even within such chaos, I am at work to bring my plan to fruition. Darkness is not beyond my control. In the midst of crises, I am making a way for renewal, for a season of spiritual revival that those who are awake will perceive. Do not imagine your country exempt from these global movements. I declare that when I shake the heavens and the earth, nowhere stands untouched. HG 2:6. Whether you live in a tiny village or in a mighty nation, the flow of history reaches you. Every upheaval at a distant corner of the world sends waves that touch souls seemingly unrelated. For I made humanity as one body. When one part suffers, the whole body feels. The eclipse illustrates that connection. A movement in the heavens can cause the whole world to look up, to talk, and to reflect. Likewise, any event in the global tapestry echoes in the life of each individual. Never forget, nothing in history escapes my purpose. Though evil may appear to triumph in truth, I use even that darkness as material to accomplish a greater work. As an artist uses light and dark to make a vivid painting, I use joy and sorrow, victory and defeat to write the story of redemption. We know that God works all things together for good for those who love him. Rom 8:2-8. Do not fear when you see darkness, for it makes the light stand out. Do not despair at the ruins, for amid the ashes new life is being sown. My child, I know your heart sometimes trembles. Where will this world ultimately go? Will these upheavals destroy everything? Do not let that fear seize your heart. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Rev 2:2-1-3. Nothing lies outside my plan. Even if you glimpse only a small fragment, trust that the whole picture is complete in my sight. The eclipse you witness today is but a small chapter, yet it fits precisely with the other chapters that lead to the ending. I have promised a new heaven and a new earth where justice and love reign. Think of the flow of history as a long river. There are braided bends, violent rapids, and placid stretches. Standing on the riverbank, you may not grasp the current's course, but from above, I see its entire winding, its source, and its mouth. I want you to place your trust in me, the one steering the vessel of history through every shoal and storm. The eclipse is a marker on that river. reminding you that time flows and that the water is carrying the world ever closer to the shore I have appointed. My child, what I expect of you is not mere passive observation, but active participation. History is not only the tale of kings, presidents, or leaders, it is also the story of every small soul. Each prayer, every act of love, every honest choice, these all weave another thread into the great tapestry. Do not think yourself too insignificant to make an impact. You are like the grain of salt, the leaven. I spoke of small yet able to leaven the whole lump. Matt 1:3-3. While nations move, I am still seeking hearts that listen and offer themselves as material for my grand design. You are one of those. See the eclipse today as a summons for you to take your place in the tapestry of history. Do not let indifference steal your opportunity. Do not assume there is still abundant time to prepare. Like the wise servant who stays watchful for his master's return, Luke 1:2-3-7, you must be ready each day. When I shake the heavens and the earth, only those who cling to a firm foundation will stand. The eclipse rings out as a warning bell. Time is not infinite. My plan advances, and you must decide where you will stand in that picture. My beloved child, reflect deeply. Why did I allow the moon to obscure the sun and darken the sky for a moment? It was not to terrify you, but to paint for you a vivid picture of spiritual reality. Just as the moon can block the sun's radiant light, so clouds of doubt, unbelief, and indifference can veil my light within your soul. When light is hidden, earth and sky appear dim. When faith is stifled, life feels unmoored. Yet I declare to you that the true light has never gone out. It waits only for the moment to burst forth and dispel the night. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who dwelt in a land of deep darkness, on them has light shone. Isaiah 9:1. My child, let this eclipse call you to lift the veil within your heart. There are invisible curtains you do not even notice, the curtain of fear that hinders your step, the curtain of pride that keeps you from bowing, the curtain of the past that prevents you from opening to the future. All these are like the moon obscuring the light, temporary yet enough to sow doubt in you. I call you to rise up and by faith draw those curtains aside, for my light is not extinguished. Once you open your heart, you will see it shine again more powerfully than ever. Let this eclipse become a mirror for you to examine your soul. Have you nurtured certain shadows for too long? Are there negative thoughts, bitter resentments, or wounds left unhealed that cloak your true joy? I want you to realize that it is precisely when the light is hidden that you hunger for it more. It is when the world grows dim that you learn to value the small, precious rays of light. And in the moment when everything seems lost, you discover that the true light does not dwell in circumstances, but in the Creator, I, the one who never changes. Do not let the darkness of the world overpower your sight. This world is full of false voices, empty promises, and illusions that make you believe power, wealth, or pleasure can take the place of the true light. Yet all those things are like that small moon, able to veil the light for a moment, but never able to put out the Sunday. When you trust in false values, you permit the moon to hide my light. But when you turn back, when you seek the truth, the light will pierce the darkness and bring a peace no one can take away. I know there are times when you feel as though you walk through a long night. You pray yet do not perceive an answer. You hope yet are disappointed. You seek yet seem lost. At those times you resemble one standing beneath the shadow of an eclipse, seeing a dimmed sky and thinking the sun has gone. But remember, the sun is still there, only temporarily covered. Likewise, I remain by your side, even when you do not sense me. For I know the plans I have for you, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Jer 2:9-11. Trust, for the light will return, and when it does, it will shine more brilliantly than ever. My child, the eclipse is a summons to awaken. It reminds you that life is not only about bread and clothing, nor merely the daily calculations of survival. It calls to mind a greater reality, a higher purpose communion with me, the one who made heaven and earth. When the light is veiled, you have an opportunity to ask what obscures the spiritual light within me. When darkness falls, you have a chance to decide, will you let it dominate, or will you step out to seek the true source of light? Use this season to renew your commitment to choose light over darkness, truth over falsehood, love over selfishness. Remember that an eclipse lasts only for a moment, yet it leaves a lasting impression. I want that mark to be not only in your eyes but also in your soul. Let it become a milestone, reminding you that though the world may change, though darkness may spread, my light remains unchanging. I created the sun to shine by day, and I created you to reflect that very light in the world's darkness. Rise up, my child, and be the lamp placed on a high stand, Mount 5, 1, 4, 15. Let your life shine so that those around you may also see the light and glorify the one who dwells in heaven. My beloved child, let your heart ponder a truth both simple and profound. This world always holds darkness alongside light. It is no accident that when I created the universe, the very first words I spoke were, "Let there be light," Gen 1:3. If light had to be called forth, it means darkness was already present. This is true not only in the realm of matter, but also in the realm of the human soul. Darkness is not merely the absence of sunlight. It is also the symbol of inner states. Doubt that unsettles you, fear that paralyzes you, sin that distances you from me, and indifference that makes you forget the very reason you exist. All these are coverings of shadow that prevent you from seeing the truth. At times you may think darkness exists only where evil is blatant in war, in violence, in injustice. Yet darkness can slip even into the most peaceful places, even into your own heart. It can come as whispers of deception telling you that you are unworthy, that you are abandoned, that you have no future. It can come as weariness after long days, or as emptiness, though you possess everything outwardly. These are subtle shades of darkness, luring you away from the source of light. Such darkness does not shout yet. It erodes life from within like slow-moving clouds covering the Sunday. Look around at the world today, my child. Wars still rage in many places. The blood of the innocent is still shed in justice, still reigns upon the scales of power. The rich grow ever richer, while the poor are thrust deeper into despair. Some nations drown in political turmoil. Some peoples cry out for justice. This is the darkness that spreads over the earth, the darkness of greed, of hatred, of falsehood, cloaked under noble names. And know this, just as with the darkness in the human soul, the darkness of communities and nations is real, it threatens, and it too must be pierced by light. Do not forget, darkness is not only an enemy, it is also a teacher. Without the night, you would not treasure the dawn. Without winter, you would not grasp the vitality of spring. Likewise, without confronting the darkness of fear and unbelief, you would never fully discover the power of the light of faith. I allow darkness to exist not to crush you, but to teach you to seek the light. Even though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you will fear no evil, for I am with you. Ps 2, 3, 4. Remember, darkness only terrifies you when you forget that the light still remains. Spiritual darkness often comes from forgetting. When you forget that you are loved unconditionally, the darkness of shame invades. When you forget that I hold the future, the darkness of worry overwhelms. When you forget that I have forgiven you, the darkness of guilt imprisons you. When you forget that I am always with you, the darkness of loneliness surrounds you. Therefore, the key to overcoming darkness is not to resist by your own strength, but to turn back, to remember, and to fix your eyes on the light. For darkness cannot vanish by itself. It only recedes when light appears. Do not underestimate the power of the small shadows. A single ray of doubt can grow into a mountain of suspicion. An unhealed wound can become a pit of bitter despair. That is why I want you always vigilant, always shining light into every hidden corner of your soul. Let me enter the places you hide, the things you are reluctant to speak, the faces you dare not confront, because only when my light touches them will the darkness truly vanish. You may conceal yourself from others, but you cannot hide from me. And I do not come to condemn, but to heal, to set free, to turn places of darkness into spaces where my glory is revealed. I also know that darkness can make you feel helpless. When everything around you collapses, you may think the light has left you. But remember, darkness never has the authority to define ultimate reality. It is only a season, a portion of the journey, not the final destination. Picture again the eclipse you witnessed in the moment the sun was veiled. One might suppose the light had ceased. Yet in truth, the sun remained brilliant, merely momentarily obscured by a thin veil. Likewise, in seasons of trial, the light of mine is still present, simply waiting for you to patiently hold fast in faith until it appears in full splendor. Therefore, when you see darkness spreading, do not lose heart. It is an opportunity for you to rise to become a witness to the light. The world does not need more complaints. It needs souls who will kindle light. Every kind word, every act of love, every choice of integrity, these are small lamps that help push back the night. You are the light of the world. Out 5:14. When you walk in my light, you do not only free yourself from darkness, but also illuminate the path for others to return to the true source of light. My beloved child, I want you to engrave this truth deep within your heart. My light has never been and will never be extinguished. Though darkness may spread and evil may shake the world, that light endures, immutable and eternal. Just as the sun continues to shine even when hidden by dark clouds, so my love, grace, and presence surround you, even when you cannot see them. Darkness may frighten you, but it has no power to snuff out the light. Remember my word. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. This is not merely consolation. It is a sacred truth proven across generations. Look back through history and see that whenever my people seemed hopeless, the light has arisen. When Israel was enslaved in Egypt, they believed their chains would never be undone. Yet it was in that night of bondage that I kindled the flame of freedom and delivered them by a mighty hand. When they wandered in the desert, lost between burning sands and long nights, I placed a pillar of fire to guide them. Exod 1:3-2-1. That pillar stands as evidence that my light never abandons my people, even in the most desolate darkness. Today I place light within your life as well to lead you through every trial, even when you feel you walk through your own wilderness. Remember the prophets, the apostles, the witnesses, they all passed through darkness, yet the light in them did not dim. Elijah once sat under a broom tree, exhausted and ready to give up, but my light touched him and lifted him with new strength. 1 Kings 1:9-8. David fled through the shadows of peril, yet still proclaimed, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?" Ps 2:7-1. Paul was imprisoned in darkness, yet even in chains he sang praises, and the light of the gospel echoed forth from the very prison. Acts 1:6-5. These witnesses show vividly that darkness is only a backdrop against which the light may shine more gloriously. My child, my light is not only an external power, but the wellspring of life within. Whatever your circumstances, that light can illuminate your heart and bring peace beyond understanding. When your soul is tempest-tossed, when your thoughts are flooded with anxiety, that light will whisper that you are loved, that you have worth, that hope remains. I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. John 8:1-2. This is the promise I give you, so that even when the world around you descends into chaos, the light within you may still burn bright and guide your steps. Some ask, how can God's light endure when evil runs rampant? But look upon the cross itself, where darkness seemed absolute. The innocent one was hung upon wood, and darkness covered the land at the 9th hour, Mount 2745. People thought the light had gone out, that evil had prevailed. Yet only 3 days later, the light of the resurrection burst forth, shattering every chain of death. The cross is not the full stop, but the door that opens onto glory. In the very place of greatest darkness, the brightest light appears. Therefore, never let those black moments make you think the light has vanished. It is only preparing to blaze forth even more powerfully. Light never goes out because it does not depend on feelings or circumstances. You may feel alone, but that does not mean the light has left you. You may fall, yet the light waits to lift you up. You may lose your way, yet the light still shows the path home. I am the light, and that light is eternal, independent of any power. Nothing will be able to separate us from the love of God. Rom 8:39. Darkness may threaten, but it never has the authority to declare the end. I want you not only to believe in the light, but also to carry that light into the world. You were made to reflect the light, to be a small lamp contributing to the dispelling of darkness. You cannot make my light go out, but you can smother it with fear by hiding it under the box of indifference. Mount 515. Therefore I call you, let the light within you be revealed. Speak truth when the world is full of falsehood. Give love when the world overflows with hatred. Stand firm in hope when others sink into despair. Each small act is proof that my light is never extinguished. When you stand in the light, you become an instrument of peace. People will come to you not because you are perfect, but because the light in you reminds them of me. You will be a refuge for the lost, a lamp for those walking in the night. And as you share the light, you will see it multiply. Light never runs out. The more it is given away, the more brilliantly it shines. This is the eternal principle I placed in creation. Darkness is strong only when you are silent, but light spreads when you courageously kindle it, so do not tremble before the dark. Stand firm, for the light I give you never goes out. It not only lights your way, but transforms you into a source of light for others. Walk with the confidence that however the world shifts, however dense the darkness, my light remains unchanged, eternal, waiting to reveal glory. Let that truth be your support, so you do not waver amid the storm. For I say to you, fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine, is 4:3:1. And because you belong to me, the light within you will never be extinguished. My beloved, let your eyes observe and let your heart remember, the creation I made is not only for your contemplation, but for your learning of truth. This universe never ceases to move, and in every movement I am speaking timeless lessons to you. The eclipse you witnessed is not merely a rare spectacle in the sky, but a living metaphor for the journey of faith. Just as the sun may be temporarily veiled, so your soul at times is covered by darkness. But trust this, the light does not disappear, and after every season of darkness, the light will return with renewed strength, bringing hope and renewal. My child, nature always reflects the unchanging principles. After a long night, the dawn arrives. After the cold of winter, spring bursts forth. After the violent storm, the sky becomes clear again. All these remind you that darkness is not the end, but only a temporary chapter in a greater story. When you face trials, remember that they are only a cycle, a season in your life, not your entire destiny. Just as an eclipse passes only for a brief moment, so too your fear, your confusion, and even your suffering will give way to the light if you hold on to faith. Weeping may linger for the night, but joy comes with the morning peas. 3:05. Look at the rhythm of the earth and sky and learn how to adjust your soul. Many believe they can avoid darkness, that life should only consist of light and joy. But if there were only day without night, you would never truly value the Sunday. If there were only ease without hardship, you would never learn patience and real strength. That is why I allow darkness to pass across your life, not to harm you, but to refine you. Just as gold only shines when it passes through fire, faith only grows firm when it is tested. Let nature teach you darkness has its role, but light is always the final destination. Often you ask me, why do I not remove the darkness immediately? Why do I allow evil to remain present? The answer, my child, lies within the very rhythm I placed in the universe. If light were never veiled, you would take it for granted. But when the light returns after being hidden, you see it blaze with greater glory. If your life never encountered difficulties, you would never learn how to grasp my hand. Yet when you walk through the nights of trial, you discover that I am the one source of light that never changes. An eclipse is the illustration of this truth. Light becomes most precious when it has been obscured and then breaks forth again. My beloved, let nature awaken in you a heart of gratitude. Be thankful for the light of every morning, for the breath that still sustains you, for each new day as another opportunity. Darkness may cause you to tremble, but it also makes you aware that light is not something to presume upon, but a gift from the Creator. Every ray piercing the clouds is a reminder, I am still here. I still govern all things. I still love you with an unfading love. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness, Lamb 3:2-3. I want you to learn to live in harmony with the rhythm of heaven and earth. Do not resist the darkness, but walk through it with trust. Do not be anxious when the light is hidden, but wait with hope. Do not think that the moments of gloom are the end, but regard them as invitations to deepen your faith. When you can do this, you will no longer fear whenever darkness comes, for you know that light is always behind it, ready to rise in glory. An eclipse may last only a few minutes, but its lesson can sustain you. For a lifetime, darkness is temporary, but light is eternal. Train yourself to see beyond outward appearances, to perceive the sacred truth hidden within. When the world tells you that darkness has prevailed, answer back with faith that my light still shines. When your soul wavers, remember that the whole universe is teaching you one lesson: light will always return, and when it does, it will shine brighter than ever. My child, open your eyes and look around. The world in which you live is no longer the same. Day by day, hour by hour, events unfold in torrents that leave humanity both astonished and shaken. Sudden disasters, devastating wars, widespread plagues, fractured societies, and restless hearts. It seems as if all creation is quaking like a great fabric violently shaken. But I declare to you that all these are not merely the random outcomes of chaos. They are wake-up call signs within the grand tapestry that I myself have woven by my power. Once more I will shake not only the earth but also the heavens. Heb 1:2-6. My child, when you see upheaval, do not let your heart fall into fear, for fear only blinds the eyes of the spirit and prevents you from perceiving the deeper purpose. What is happening around you is not outside my control. I am the one who began history, and I am the one who will bring it to completion. No event lies beyond my hand. When you see nations trembling, when institutions falter, know that I am the one who stirs things to reveal truth, to remind humanity that they cannot build their lives on power or wealth, but only on the solid foundation that is me. Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. Ps 1:2-7-1. I see the hearts of people today filled with unrest. They live anxious about the future, about work, about family, about the survival of humankind. Many are confused by economic shocks. Many are fearful before disease. Many have lost faith in justice and truth. The darkness of doubt, of falsehoods, of deception covers the souls of people. They seek refuge in technology and politics and riches, but all these are like a house built on sand. When a single storm comes, it collapses. Mount 7, 2, 6, 27. I permit the storm not to annihilate but to expose what is truly foundational. In the midst of upheaval, you come to see clearly what endures and what is fleeting. The world may seem to you like a river running wild, sweeping everything away. But remember, I am the one who holds that river. Nothing happens outside my permission, and nothing can destroy the plan of redemption I have begun. The upheavals of the world are like labor pains, painful, yet they herald the birth of something new. RM 822. Look upon these events with the eyes of faith. Instead of seeing chaos, see opportunity for profound renewal. Instead of seeing an end, see the beginning of something far greater. My child, some will be carried away by the current of upheaval, because they have placed their trust in things that pass. But I call you to stand firm on the foundation of my word. Though the earth changes and the mountains are removed, my word stands firm forever. Is 408. When you cling to truth, you will not be swept into panic, but will discern the sacred purpose in every occurrence. You will know that every shift is a summons. Be watchful, return, choose light over darkness. I do not want you to be merely a spectator in the flow of the world. I want you to be conscious that you are part of the larger picture, that each step you take, each choice you make, echoes through history. Remember, the world does not only change around you, it also changes through you. When you live in truth, you help build a firmer world. When you love, you sow seeds of peace. When you forgive, you break the chains of hatred. No matter how great the upheaval, you still have a role in my plan. My child, remember, when the world trembles, it is not a period at the end, but a comma in the story of salvation. It reminds you that time is urgent, that life is brief, that you must be watchful. As I told the disciples, be dressed for action and keep your lamps burning. Be like men waiting for their master to return from the wedding feast. Luke 1, 2, 3, 5, 36. Do not sleep in habit. Do not let yourself be lulled by things that pass away. The world's upheaval is a call to readiness, ready for a new era, ready for the reign of light, ready for the work of renewal that I am carrying out. My beloved child, I declare that no one in humanity can stand outside the great picture I have painted from the beginning. Even if you think yourself small, anonymous, or of no consequence in the world, you remain an indispensable link in the chain of history's movement. I made each person with love and unique intention. No one is meaningless. No one is accidental. You may hide in the crowd, yet your soul's name is engraved by me in the book of life. Rev 3, 5. Understand that your presence and your actions today may reverberate for eternity. Many assume that only the powerful kings or national leaders shape the destiny of history. But I tell you, truly, history turns not only by thrones or by weapons, but also by faithful hearts acting in quiet. When Elijah thought himself alone, I showed him 7,000 who had not bowed to Baal. 1 Kings 1:9-18. When a boy offered 5 loaves and 2 fish, I used them to feed the great multitude. John 6:9-13. When a poor widow gave 2 small coins, I regarded that offering as greater than all the rest. Mark 1:2-4-3. Therefore do not despise the small things you do, for in my hand the small can become a miracle. You live in a time of transformation, and I want you to know that your choices affect not only you, but the wider community. When you choose to speak truth rather than remain silent before falsehood, you become a witness for the light. When you choose forgiveness rather than nursing resentment, you open the door of peace for future generations. When you offer a sincere prayer, you help lift the world in my merciful hand. Every choice, every action matters, for all are woven into the common tapestry I have designed. There are those who live as if exempt from the world's upheavals. They tell themselves their nation is safe, their family secure, their own life untouched by external storms. But I declare no one can build walls high enough to stop the wind. No one can isolate themselves entirely from the common current. When a people suffer, the aftershocks spread across the globe. When a community falls, their cry reaches my heart and touches the conscience of mankind. You cannot separate yourself from the rest, for you are all made as one body, one core, one two. If one member suffers, the whole body shares the pain. That is why I call you to be vigilant. Do not think that because you have little power, you may be indifferent. Indifference is also a choice, and that choice can make room for darkness to reign. When you remain silent before injustice, you unwittingly give it standing. When you turn your face away from the suffering of your brothers and sisters, you miss the opportunity for the light to be revealed through you. You were not created to stand apart, but to stand in the place I have appointed. Ask yourself today, what do I hear my call to do? Where does He want me to be a lamp? For exactly where you stand in the environment where you live, you have been chosen to sow light. Remember that no one can take your place in my plan. If you refuse, the work will be given to another, but you will forfeit the blessing intended for you. As Queen Esther was placed in the palace for such a time as this, Esther 4:1-4, so you have been placed in your place and in your age, not by chance, but to bear witness to the light in a particular season of history. Do not undervalue the opportunity, for each day is an invitation to choose to stand with the light. My beloved, I see those who are weary, who think their actions cannot change anything. But I declare a tiny seed can grow into a great tree. A small spark can kindle a mighty flame. You only need to be faithful. I will do the rest. Do not wait for some grand opportunity in a distant future. Begin today with a kind word, a helping hand, a righteous decision. Believe that these small things are not meaningless. They are the threads that weave the many-colored tapestry of history, and in my hand they become instruments to transform a whole generation. Step out of indifference and fear. The world is in upheaval, and you are being called to act. Do not hide. Do not wait. Do not suppose the responsibility belongs to others. You have a role, a place, a voice, and if you do not use them for the light, darkness will seize that empty space. Remember that you are not merely an insignificant individual. You represent the light I have placed within humanity. When you live faithfully, that light will spread, testifying that darkness does not have the final word. My dear child, the time is no longer for hesitating or doubting. The upheavals of the world have sounded like a warning drum, and every soul now stands before a choice. You cannot desire to stand in the light and at the same time lurk in the shadows. No one can walk two roads at once, for one road leads to life and the other to destruction. Mount 7, 1:3-14. Therefore decide today, will you stand with the light or let darkness take your heart? I call you not with a mighty wind, nor an earthquake, but by the whisper of the Spirit that the moment has come for you to rise and earthquake. Live for true purpose. I did not create you to live a dim, aimless life. You were not made merely to earn your daily bread and one day vanish without a trace. Rather, you were born for a holy purpose, an intent I engraved on your soul before the world was formed. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jer 1:5. That purpose is not reserved for those the world calls great. It is for every person, including you, the one reading these words. That mission is to live as light, so that wherever you go, darkness is driven back. To live with purpose is not to chase worldly ambitions nor to seek flawless perfection. To live with purpose means that each day you walk with the awareness that you were made to love, to bear witness to truth, and to sow peace. You may think this is lofty, yet it rests in the simplest gestures. When you choose a gentle word instead of a cutting one, you let the light blaze. When you choose to listen rather than judge, you bring healing. When you choose forgiveness instead of holding grudges, you open the way for peace to dwell. All these small acts together form a power far greater than any weapon. Do not despise an act of kindness. Remember that a boy's offering of 5 loaves and 2 fish fed a multitude. John 6:9-13. Remember too the poor widow who gave 2 small coins and was honored above lavish gifts. Mach 1:2-4-144. And recall how the simple testimony of the Samaritan woman at the well led many in her town to come. J.N. 4:3-9. Thus you too, one small loving act can change a life, and one changed life can influence a whole generation. Never reckon yourself too small to make a difference. In my hand, a small seed grows into a great tree. A tiny spark can light up the heavens. The world today makes it easy for you to grow weary. Daily news overflows with instability, heartbreaking stories, and bleak forecasts. You may feel the light is dimming and that all your efforts are futile. But I want you to know this truth: the light never goes out. Even a solitary candle in a dark room has the power to dispel the night. You are that candle. When you join with other candles, a sea of light will blaze forth, leaving no place for darkness to hide. That is why I call not just one person but an entire community, a generation to rise together. Do not think this call is for prophets or great leaders alone. This call is for all my children. A mother who raises her children in love bears witness to the light. An honest worker in everyday life reflects that light. A courageous young person who holds fast to faith amid temptations shines brightly. Each of you has a part, and together you become an army of light, more powerful than any darkness. You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. Mount 5:1-3-14. Let the eclipse you recently saw become a clear reminder. It shows that light can be momentarily veiled but never extinguished. Likewise, in today's chaotic world, my light endures, and you are called to make that light shine. This is not a time to hide. It is a time to step forward, not to flee but to act, not to despair but to sow hope. The urgent summons rings throughout the cosmos, and I await your answer, not in words alone, but in life and concrete deeds. You may ask yourself, where should I begin? I answer you, begin exactly where you stand. Look around you, your family, your friends, your community, and let the light shine first within those close relationships. Begin with sincere prayer, with faithfulness in the small tasks, with opening your heart to someone who needs a word of encouragement. Do not wait for a great opportunity, for the greatest opportunity is the present moment. Today, if you hear His voice, do not harden your hearts. Ps 9:5-7-8. My child, this call is not meant to frighten you, but to encourage you. I do not place an unbearable burden on your shoulders. I give you the strength to do what I call you to do. When you feel weak, I will lift you. When you feel lost, I will show the way. When you stumble, I will pull you up. I do not expect you to be perfect immediately, but I ask you to be faithful each day. The journey of becoming light does not happen overnight. It is formed by small choices repeated until they become your very nature. Therefore, I invite you to live with a clear purpose. Do not let the days pass in indifference. Let each moment bear the mark of light. When you live this way, you will not only see your life take on meaning, but you will help shape a new world, a world where love is stronger than hatred, truth greater than falsehood, light victorious over darkness. I have chosen you for a time such as this, and my call is sounding. Are you willing to walk? My beloved child, I desire to lead you into the heart of all truth, that truth is love. If you would know why I made heaven and earth, why I fashioned humankind, why I intervene in the flow of history, the answer is summed up in one word: love. God is love. 1 John 4:8. Not merely a God who loves, but whose very essence is love. Everything I do, from breathing life into you to sending my only Son into the world, flows from an unshakable love. No power, no darkness, no distance can extinguish or block that love. The love I give is not like the fragile loves of the world. It does not depend on fleeting feelings, nor is it conditional. People often love while things go well and withdraw in disappointment. But my love is different. It is an eternal commitment that transcends, limits, and endures, even when you turn away, betray, or fail. Look to the cross and understand at the moment humanity rejected and nailed me, my love was revealed most powerfully. God shows His love for us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Rom 5:8. This proves that my love is not theory but active power, the power that can change the destiny of humankind. My child, without love all things collapse. Knowledge, power, wealth, all are meaningless without the foundation of love. If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels but have not love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. 1 Cor 1:3-1. Remember, love is not merely one virtue among many. It is the root, the source, the foundation that upholds everything. Without it, all is an empty show. Yet with it, even the smallest deed has eternal worth. A cup of water given in love weighs more than a great treasure without compassion. I know that within every heart there is a longing to be loved. That is not weakness, but the stamp I placed when I created you. You seek love in family, friends, marriage, and work. Yet I want you to understand that no love is complete apart from the love of the Creator. Other loves may be beautiful and precious, but they are reflections. If you place all your hope in them alone, you will be disappointed, for even the best of people are limited. But if you lay your foundation in me, you will have a love that never runs dry, a spring that flows forever. Let my love free you from fear. Perfect love casts out fear. 1 John 4:1-8. Many live haunted by anxiety, fear of abandonment, fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of the future. Those fears bind and keep them from stepping out, from trusting, from loving. But when you receive my love, you will know that you are never alone, that you are loved unconditionally, and that your life rests in my hands. Then fear loses its power over you, for love shelters, fills, and liberates. My child, love is not merely a sweet feeling. It is a transforming power. It can break hatred, heal wounds, and humble pride. When you choose to love your enemy, you do what the world calls madness, yet that is the power of the kingdom. When you choose to sacrifice for another, you testify that love is stronger than selfishness. When you choose compassion instead of contempt, you reveal a power greater than any weapon. Love does not need clamor, yet it spreads like a tiny seed, becoming a great tree, like a small leaven, making the whole dough rise. Mount 1:3-3-1-33. The world today is full of wounds. People hurt one another with words, actions, and chilling silence. Families break communities, fracture nations, nurse grudges. But I say there is no sword, no force that can truly heal. Only love can mend. That is why I call you to enter into my love, so that you might become an instrument bearing that love to others. When you let my love soak into your heart, you will naturally become a channel of transformation. Wherever you go, the darkness of hatred will be driven back, and the seeds of hope will sprout. Do you know why love is the foundation of the eternal plan? Because love is the language in which this whole universe is written. The stars move in order the seasons succeed one another. Life multiplies. All of these reflect the principle of love, giving, supporting, sustaining. If the universe I made were not woven by love, it would have collapsed long ago. So it is with human beings. Without living in love, they wither, no matter how successful they may appear outwardly. Your soul is shaped by love. Only love feeds it and causes it to grow. Do not think love is far away. It begins in the nearest things: a kindly glance, an encouraging word, a gentle act. Each time you do these things, you sow a seed, into the soil of the world. You may not see the harvest at once, but the seed will sprout in the time I appoint. And when many seeds of love are sown, a harvest of blessing will come. I want you to understand that every loving act, however small, contributes to building the new world I have promised. A world where the wolf shall dwell with the lamb and the leopard shall lie down with the young goat is 116, a world where peace and justice reign. I desire that you not only receive my love but become its embodiment. Know that the love I place within you is not to be hoarded but to be shared. When you give it away, it is not diminished, it overflows. When you open your heart, it is not lost but multiplied. This is the wondrous paradox of love. The more you give it, the larger it becomes. Therefore, do not withhold. Let love flow through you like a river, so that everyone you meet may be touched by grace. My child, I want to speak to you about forgiveness. Without forgiveness, love is never complete. Without forgiveness, the soul cannot be healed. Forgiveness is the key that opens the door to peace, the wind that blows away the clouds of resentment, the water that cleanses long-festering wounds. I tell you that forgiveness is not optional but the necessary path for those who would walk in the light. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you. F432. I know forgiveness is hard. Wounds run deep, and painful memories remain like sharp blades. People cling to anger as if it were protection, thinking that to let go is to become weak. But I say holding on to hatred does not protect you. It imprisons you in an invisible jail. When you refuse to forgive, you are the one kept captive. You lose freedom because every step is bound by painful recollection. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting or denying injustice. It means freeing your soul from the chains of the past. Look to me to understand the power of forgiveness. When I hung on the cross, betrayed and mocked, I did not curse, but prayed, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. LK 2, 3, 3, 4. That was not mere words, but the power that opened salvation to all humanity. Forgiveness does not change the past, but it changes the present and the future. It breaks the cycle of hatred, opens a new way, and shatters the shackles that bind your soul. If I, innocent, chose to forgive, then you, however wounded, can follow that example. I know there are wounds so deep you believe forgiveness is impossible. Some have abused your trust, betrayed your affection, taken what was most precious. I see your tears in the dark, I hear your silent cries. Yet I also see this: if you keep clinging to hatred, you will never be healed. The wound will fester, and your soul will wither. Forgiveness is not a gift you give first to the offender, but the gift you give yourself. When you forgive, you open the door to new life, to peace, to the return of joy. My child, forgiveness does not mean overlooking justice. I am the righteous one, and I declare that all things will be judged with fairness. Forgiveness does not deny the pain or accept what is wrong. Forgiveness is placing judgment into my hands so that you no longer carry the burden of vengeance. When you forgive, you are saying, Lord, I hand this over to you. I will no longer let this weight press upon my heart. In that moment, you will feel lightened, for justice is not in your hands, but in the hands of the one who holds the universe. Vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord. Romans 1:2-1-9. The power of forgiveness reaches beyond the individual. It transforms communities. Wherever forgiveness abides, reconciliation follows. Wherever reconciliation is found, unity flourishes. Look at history, how many wars, how much bloodshed began because of ancient grudges that were never forgiven. And yet how many miracles have unfolded when one person dared to forgive, shattering the walls of hatred. Forgiveness is the seed of peace, the foundation of a lasting society. Without forgiveness, humanity will remain trapped in an endless cycle of retaliation. My child, forgiveness is a journey, not merely a decision made in a single moment. You may need to pray many times. You may need to weep and wrestle within, but with every step you take, you move closer to freedom. Forgiveness does not happen overnight, but it is a patient stream washing the wound day by day. I do not demand that you feel immediate relief. I only call you to begin to open your heart. When you dare to say, "Lord, I want to forgive, please help me," then my Spirit will do the rest. I encourage you to practice forgiveness in daily life. Begin with the small things. Forgive a careless word that wounded you. Forgive a misunderstanding. Forgive broken promises. As you learn to forgive in the little matters, you will gain the strength to forgive in the greater ones. And with each act of forgiveness, your heart will expand, your soul will grow lighter, and my light will shine more brightly within you. Forgiveness does not make you weak. On the contrary, it makes you strong, for only noble hearts can release the chains of hatred. The world today needs forgiveness more than ever. Families are torn apart for lack of forgiveness. Communities are divided for lack of forgiveness. Nations rise against each other for lack of forgiveness. I call you to begin with yourself. You cannot change the world in a day, but you can choose to change your own heart today. And when your heart is renewed, you will carry a healing power that will flow to others. This is how love and forgiveness move from one soul to another until they transform all humanity. Remember, this forgiveness does not erase memory, but it transforms painful memory into a testimony of grace. When you look back, instead of seeing only the wound, you will see my hand sustaining you. Instead of betrayal, you will see my faithfulness. Instead of loss, you will see that I gave you a new life. Forgiveness does not change the past, but it changes how you see the past, and from there, it opens a future filled with hope. My beloved child, forgiveness is not only a destination, but a doorway. When you cross that threshold, you will find true freedom. Freedom not born of power, wealth, or status, but of a soul unburdened. Many believe they will be free when they take revenge, when they seize justice with their own hands. Yet the more they struggle, the more tightly they are bound in the chains of hatred. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks that prison, releasing you from the weight of the past. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. The truth is this: you were not created to live in the bondage of bitterness, but to walk in the freedom of love. My child, the freedom that forgiveness brings is not only a lightness of mind, but a profound renewal of your very identity. Forgiveness allows you to live unshackled from the grip of darkness. It allows you to love again without fear. It allows you to open your heart wide to receive new blessings. Forgiveness is like the dawn after a long night. Not only does it dispel the darkness, but it ushers in a new atmosphere, a new light, and a new hope. When you forgive, you are declaring to yourself, "I will not let the past define my future. I choose to step into the new life that God has promised." Forgiveness does not mean returning to what is wrong or allowing others to continue harming you. Forgiveness is the beginning of a new chapter, a new path, where you can move forward without being bound by the past. Forgiveness allows you to establish healthy boundaries, to learn from wounds without letting them control your life. Forgiveness does not demand that you forget everything, but it transforms memory into lessons rather than chains. Like a seed buried in the ground, it does not vanish, but is transformed into new life. Jane 1:2-4. So it is with forgiveness. It transforms a painful past into a foundation for growth and for new beginnings. Know that forgiveness is the most powerful voice you can lift up to the world. When the world expects vengeance, you choose forgiveness, and that is a living testimony that love is stronger than hatred. When society celebrates confrontation, you choose reconciliation, and that light astonishes those who behold it. Forgiveness does not only transform your own heart, it also confounds the darkness. For darkness knows not what to do when it is met with unconditional love. Forgiveness is the great victory, for it destroys the enemy's weapons, resentment, division, and despair. Look at the relationships around you. How many families have grown distant? How many friendships have been shattered? How many communities have broken apart for lack of forgiveness? A word of apology may begin to heal, but only when met with forgiveness can it open the way for new beginnings. When you forgive, you lay the foundation for restoration. A family can be reunited. A community can be reconciled. A nation can step into a season of peace. Forgiveness is like the seed of spring sown into the cold soil of winter. When it grows, the landscape changes and new life covers what was once barren. I see that many fear forgiveness will rob them of justice. But I declare forgiveness is not the abandonment of justice, but the placing of justice into my hands, the hands of the one who is perfectly just. Forgiveness does not absolve the wrongdoer of responsibility, but it frees you from carrying the burden of responsibility in my place. When you forgive, you are declaring that you trust me to act, that my justice surpasses your limited understanding. You need no longer occupy yourself with vengeance, for vengeance is mine. I will repay, says the Lord. Rom 12:19. Forgiveness is an act of faith. Faith that I have both the power and the authority to set all things right. My child, forgiveness is also the bridge between love and freedom. When you forgive, you not only set yourself free, but you also extend to another the opportunity for transformation. Forgiveness opens a space for conversion, for change. Many only return when they have been forgiven, for forgiveness melts the hardness of the heart. When you forgive, you become my instrument in renewing another's soul. Forgiveness does not guarantee that the other will change, but it opens the door through which change may enter. And whether or not the other is renewed, your soul remains free. Envision a world where forgiveness is widely practiced. Families would no longer be fractured, communities no longer divided, nations no longer consumed by hatred. This is the vision I have promised: a new world where love reigns. Forgiveness is the essential step that leads humanity toward that vision. Do not wait for the world to change. Begin with yourself. You forgive those who have harmed you, and you sow a seed. When many forgive, an abundant harvest will come, the harvest of peace, of freedom, of a new beginning for humanity. Now I give you a gentle yet powerful reminder. Forgiveness is not a sign of weakness, but the evidence of inner strength. The one who clings to hatred is the one truly bound, but the one who forgives is the one truly strong. Forgiveness does not erase the past, but it opens the future. Forgiveness does not hide the wound, but it heals it. Forgiveness does not deny injustice, but it places justice into my hands and sets your soul free. Step through that door and you will find yourself liberated, renewed, and living a life untouched by the dominion of darkness. My beloved child, since the day I formed you, I have placed within you special seeds. None of you were created alike. One has skillful hands, another a compassionate heart, another a keen mind, and yet another the gift of comfort and encouragement. None of these are random, but all are gifts from my hand. There are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit, one core, 1, 2, 4. Therefore know this: the talents within you, whether you see them as great or small, are given by me with a clear purpose. They are not for you to hoard, but to use in service for the benefit of others and for the glory of my name. My child, many think that serving me only means praying, singing, or preaching. But I say service is not confined to what you call sacred. When you work faithfully each day, when you act justly in your business, when you raise your children with love, when you perform your daily duties, well, these are all services. Every task, if done with integrity, becomes an offering lifted up to me. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. 1 Cor 1031. The world often sees work as nothing more than a means of survival, a burden to be carried, or a cycle of endless repetition. But I declare work is part of my divine plan. It is an opportunity for you to share in my governance of creation. From the beginning, I entrusted humanity with the responsibility to subdue the earth, Gen 1-8. This does not mean domination that destroys, but stewardship that cares, cultivates, develops, and preserves. When you labor, you are entering into collaboration with the Creator. Whether you plow a field, build a house, write a book, or care for the sick, all of it is part of the stewardship I have entrusted to you. I know there are times when you feel that the work you do has little meaning. You look at others and see them accomplishing great things while you are surrounded only by small responsibilities. But I declare no task is ever in vain when it is done in love. Just as a single brick contributes to the building of an entire house, so too does your small work take part in a greater purpose. It is precisely in faithfulness with little that I prepare you for much. Whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Luck 1:6-10. Therefore do not despise the days you are living. Every act, if done with love, carries eternal value. Look at my only son who lived among mankind. He did not come as a king in a palace, but as a carpenter in an ordinary household. For 30 years he lived in humble labor, making tables and chairs, repairing roofs, and helping the neighbors. That very daily work became the preparation for his greater mission. Understand this: no work is too small to be despised. If my son humbled himself to take up manual labor, then every task you do also carries sacred dignity. When you labor with faithfulness, you are walking in his footsteps. My child work is also the place where I train your character. Through daily responsibilities, you learn patience, discipline, honesty, and humility. Through difficulties in your work, you learn to rely on me. Through success, you learn gratitude. Work is not only about producing or making a living. It is about shaping your soul, about molding you into my image. If you look at your work through that lens, you will see that each day is a classroom, each responsibility is an exercise, and I am your teacher in every detail. I also want you to understand that gifts are not given for comparison, but for complementing one another. Many fall into the temptation of envy, thinking others have been given more than themselves. But my child, I distribute according to my wise design. Just as the body has many members, eyes, ears, hands, feet, each part is necessary. 1 core, 1, 2, 1, 2, 27. If all were the same, the body could not function. In the same way, if everyone had the same gifts, the world would lack balance. I give you exactly what you need to accomplish your part to contribute to the greater picture. Rejoice in your portion and be faithful in the role I have entrusted to you. When you use your gifts to serve you, not only bless others, but your own soul grows as well. Giving enlarges the heart and frees the soul from selfishness. When you know that your work contributes to something greater, you will find a deep joy that money can never bring. This is the joy of the faithful servant who one day will hear the master's praise. Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your master. Mount 2521. The world today is in great need of those who know how to serve in the ordinary. The world is not lacking in ambition, but it is lacking in those who are faithful in small matters. The world is not lacking in grand schemes, but it is lacking in hearts that are genuine in simple deeds. I do not seek noisy monuments, but hearts that work with love. A word of encouragement in the workplace, a kind gesture in the marketplace, a moment of patience on the road. All of these are acts of service. The world will be transformed, not by grand external events, but by countless hidden acts of love carried out each day. Remember this: your work, when placed in my hands, will never be wasted. Even when unnoticed by others, I see it. Even when unrecognized by people, I remember it. I see the drops of sweat, the efforts, the sacrifices made in silence. And I promise not a single good deed of yours will be in vain. For you know that in the Lord your labor is not in vain. 1 Cor 1:5-8. Therefore work with all your heart as working for me and not merely for men. Col 3:2-3. My child, when you serve, what I look at first is not the greatness of the task but the heart behind it. People tend to measure by numbers, results, and outward appearance. But I, who search the depths of the heart, am not impressed by outward show. I see the motives, the attitude, and the intent within you. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Sam 1:6-7. Therefore, never think that the value of service is measured by grandeur. Its true worth lies in sincerity. My child, remember the story of the poor widow who gave 2 small coins. Micah 1:24-144. In the eyes of the world, it was nothing compared to the abundant offerings of the wealthy. But in my eyes, she gave more than all the others, because she gave with her whole heart, giving out of her very lack. She did not give to boast, nor to seek honor, but as an act of love. For that reason, her small offering became eternal. Learn this lesson: service is not measured by the size of the deed, but by the depth of the heart. There are those who do great works, build magnificent monuments, and are praised by people, yet in my eyes they have no reward, for they act for their own honor and not out of love. And there are others who quietly wipe away a tear, who hold a trembling hand, and in my eyes that shines like the stars, for they act with true compassion. If I give away all I possess to the poor, and give over my body to hardship, that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. 1 Cor 1:3-3. Attitude matters more than outward action. When you work in daily life, ask yourself, where is my heart? If you act only for the praise of others, you will be disappointed when no one notices. If you act only for results, you will be discouraged when the results do not come quickly. But if you act to glorify me, then every task, however small, carries eternal meaning. When you wash dishes in love, when you teach a child with patience, when you labor with faithfulness, these are all services. The value of service does not lie in the eyes of the world, but in the eyes of the one who sees in secret. Mount 6:4. My child, I do not call you to chase after the perfection of this world. I call you to be faithful. You may stumble, you may make mistakes, you may fall short of your goals, but what I seek is your steady return, your persistence in not giving up. A child learning to walk will fall many times, but the parents rejoice because the child rises, not because the child never falls. So it is with me. I rejoice because you rise in faithfulness, not because you are flawless from the beginning. Many are mistaken in thinking that to serve means to do something grand enough to be recorded in history. But I declare the greatest things are often found in the smallest acts. A smile offered to the lonely, a meal shared with the needy, a sincere word of counsel given to the despairing, if done in love, these hold more value than the grandest works done without love. In my kingdom, the order is always reversed. The least are honored, the humble are lifted up, and those who serve are the greatest. Mount 2:3-1-1-12. I want you to remember that the spirit of service matters more than the setting of your work. You may serve in the church, in the office, in the market, or in your home. Every place can become an altar if you offer with a pure heart. I do not require outward splendor. I desire honesty of heart. When you work with your mind set on me, any task, whether sweeping a yard, carrying water, or leading an organization, bears eternal worth. My child, examine yourself. In what spirit are you serving? Is your heart full of complaint, comparison, and resentment? If so, even great works profit nothing. But if your heart is filled with love, with willingness to sacrifice, with faithfulness, then even small tasks become sacred. When you change your attitude, the very work itself changes in meaning. You will find joy even in tasks that seem mundane, for you know you are doing them for me. I want you to learn to see through the eyes of the kingdom. The world asks, What have you accomplished? But I ask, with what heart have you done it? The world measures by results, but I measure by motive. The world celebrates success, but I rejoice in faithfulness. If you understand this, you will no longer chase the approval of others, but seek the smile of the Creator. And then you will find peace because you know you are walking the right path, whether people notice or not. Engrave this truth upon your heart: true service is never wasted. Even when no one acknowledges it, even when the outcome is not as expected in heaven, every drop of sweat, every prayer, every act of love is preserved. God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown him. Heb 6:10. Therefore continue to labor with a faithful heart. Do not grow weary. Do not compare yourself. Do not let the lack of recognition cause you to falter. Today I declare to you that it is your attitude that has the power to transform the world. When you serve with compassion, you sow seeds of hope. When you serve with humility, you break the chains of pride. When you serve with integrity, you make truth shine amid deceit. These attitudes will spread, will kindle light, and will create a ripple effect. And it is through such steadfastness that you will help build a world that reflects my love and justice. My beloved child, I declare to you that every talent you have received is not merely a gift, but also a responsibility. I did not give it to you so you would hide it in fear, but so you would use it, develop it, and bear fruit. Each ability, every opportunity, every grace is like a seed I place in your hand. A seed will only blossom and bear fruit if it is sown, tended, and watered. If you keep the seed forever in your hand, it will never become a tree. Likewise, if you bury your talent, it will wither away. But if you dare to sow and to use it, I promise it will yield fruit 100-fold. For to everyone who has will more be given, and he will have abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. Mount 2:5-9. My child, remember the parable of the bags of silver that my son told. Mount 2:5-4:30. The master entrusted his servants with talents, 1, 5, 1, 2, 1, 1 each, according to his ability. The first two were faithful, invested, and produced gain. When the master returned, he praised them. Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your master. Mount 2:5-3. But the one who received one bag out of fear dug a hole and hid it in the ground. The master rebuked him. You wicked and slothful servant. Mount 2:5-6. Hear me, that parable is not merely a story, but both a warning and an encouragement. It reminds you that what I entrust is not for keeping, but for growing. My beloved, you may think your talent is too small, insignificant, incapable of great things, but I say the matter is not more or less, but faithfulness or not. I do not demand of you things beyond your capacity. I only ask that you be faithful with what you have received. One bag, if used, can still yield profit. A small ability, if put to use, can still change a life. It is not the scale that matters, but the heart. Whoever is faithful in little is faithful also in much. Luke 1:6-10. If you learn to value the small, I will entrust you with the greater, child. I know that often fear makes you bury your gifts. You fear failure, fear ridicule, fear being hurt. You tell yourself it is safer to keep than to risk. But I say fear does not come from me. It is a chain that binds you and causes you to miss opportunities. When you dare to step out in faith, you will see my hand complete what is left undone. Failure is not the end, but a lesson for growth. Yet not using your talent is a true failure. Remember, a seed does not bear fruit unless it is sown into the ground and dies. Gen 1:2-4. My child, when you use your talents to serve, I will multiply them. You offer me a song and I can use it to heal thousands of hearts. You write a line and I can use it to bring light to desperate souls. You give a smile and I can use it to pull someone back from the brink. You never fully know the power of what you do, but I know, and I will make it spread far beyond what you imagine. He who sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and he who sows bountifully will reap bountifully. 2 Cor 9:6. Do not compare your gifts with others. Each has been assigned a portion. If the eye envies the ear, what will the body be? If the hand despises the foot, can the body remain whole? 1 Cor 1:2, 1:4, 26. Likewise, you have been given a particular part to play. If you are faithful, your portion will complete the greater picture. Do not despair because another has 5 bags. Rejoice over the one you have. When you fulfill your duty, you are praised, just as the one who had many for reward is not based on quantity but on faithfulness. Beloved, know that when you fail to use your talent, the world loses a portion of its light. Talents are not for you alone, but for others. If you keep them to yourself, others will be deprived of the blessing I placed within you. Every talent is like a river. It must flow to remain pure. If it is dammed, it becomes a stagnant pool. Likewise, a talent unused will wither, and your soul will lose its vitality. But when you give, you will find yourself more alive than ever, for you are walking the very purpose I set for you. My child, I declare to you that the stewardship of talents is itself an act of worship. When you offer your gifts to me, you are saying, Lord, all that I have comes from you, and I desire to use it to glorify you. In that moment, your labor is no longer mere work, but becomes a sacred hymn, and your daily life is transformed into an altar where every action, every word, and every creation is presented as an offering. This is how your entire life becomes a living sacrifice. Rom 1:2-1. Do not forget that the enemy always seeks to bury your gifts. He whispers that you are not skilled enough, not important enough, and that others will always do better. He sows fear and sloth in order to rob you of opportunity. Yet you must remain watchful and remember that it was I who placed those talents within you, and if I have placed them, then I also grant the strength to use them. Do not allow lies to hold you captive, but rise, dare to try, dare to step forward, and dare to give. I myself will walk with you, and I will accomplish the part that is beyond your ability. Look around you. The world is in need of those who will dare to use their gifts for good. There are many who suffer, many who long for comfort, many who hunger for light. If you withhold what I have entrusted, who then will bring it to them? I do not lay the burden of the whole world upon your shoulders, but I do appoint you to a specific portion of the work. If you are faithful in that portion, the blessing will flow to many. Do not consider your role as small or insignificant, for it is essential within my plan. I call you to steward your talents with faithfulness, to sow them, to cultivate them, and to multiply them. Do not hold them back. Do not bury them in the ground, for each time you give, you will see me increase the fruit, and joy will overflow within you. On the final day, my desire is to say to you, well done, good and faithful servant, enter into the joy of your master. Mount 2:5-2:3. This is the greatest reward, and it begins now when you decide not to withhold but to serve with all that you are. My beloved child, I want you to understand that trials are neither accidents nor meaningless interruptions, but they are an essential part of the journey. As fire refines gold and as a hammer shapes stone, so trials come to form you, to temper you, and to purify your soul that it may be strong and radiant. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Jos 1:2-3. Perseverance is not passive endurance, but steadfastness of heart, the determination to stand firm, to continue working, and to remain faithful in every circumstance. Many believe that hope is waiting idly for a miracle, but true hope is the power that compels action even before results appear. It is like the farmer who sows seed not because he sees the harvest at once, but because he trusts it will surely come. Hope is faith in motion. It is the flame within the heart that drives the hands to labor. If you claim to hope yet do not continue to sow, if you do not remain faithful in the tasks before you, then your hope is empty. But if you believe and act, hope becomes a transforming power. Perseverance is the bridge between faith and fulfillment. Anyone can believe when the path is smooth, and anyone can hope when the signs are favorable. But perseverance is to continue walking even when the skies grow dark and the winds blow against you. It is not a fleeting emotion, but a daily decision, the choice to rise after every fall, the choice to remain faithful in what seems small and unrewarded, the choice to trust me even when every outward circumstance resists you. Consider the examples written for your encouragement in the Scriptures. Job lost his wealth, his children, and his health, yet he still confessed, "Though he slay me, yet will I hope in him." Job 1:3-1-5. That is perseverance founded not upon circumstances, but upon trust in my righteousness. Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, sold as a slave, falsely accused, and cast into prison, yet he never allowed bitterness to rule his heart. He was faithful in every place from Potiphar's household to the dungeon, and in time I raised him to rule Egypt and preserve the lives of many. Paul endured chains, beatings, and shipwrecks, yet he wrote with unshaken faith, "We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair." 2 Cor 4:8. These were not idle dreamers. They persevered by continuing in hope through action. I know that when you pass through trials, your heart longs to ask why, but I call you to a different question. What are you teaching me in this season? For trials do not come to destroy you, but to prepare you. They teach humility, they lead you to depend more fully upon me, they enlarge your love, and they train you in patience. If you only wait for the hardship to end, you will miss the treasures hidden in it. But if you endure with hope and continue to labor in faith, you will emerge with a soul strengthened and a faith made deeper. Do not regard perseverance as a burden, but see it as the wings that lift you through the storm. When you choose to persevere, you reveal that your faith is not shallow but rooted deep. Like a great tree that stands firm before the wind, not because it has never faced a storm, but because its roots are anchored in the earth, so it is with you. The storms will come, yet, if your roots are set in me, you will remain unshaken. Be rooted and built up in Christ, strengthened in the faith. Col 2:7. I see the tears you shed when you endure injustice. I see the long nights of restlessness, the weary days of labor unrecognized by anyone. But I declare to you, do not lose heart. Every tear you shed I keep. Every faithful act I record. Every small effort I will turn into a great harvest. Nothing you do in perseverance is in vain, for it is written, "You know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain." 1 Cor 1:5-8. Engrave this truth upon your heart. Perseverance is not silent endurance, but continuing to walk with hope. And this hope is not a vague longing, but the confident assurance that I am at work, even when you do not yet see. You may not understand all things, but you can trust that I am orchestrating all for your good. Rom 8:8. When you remain steadfast, you will taste the fruit of faith, for hope always bears fruit when it is nourished by action. I call you today to continue laboring with hope, continue to love, even when others are cold, continue to sow, even when the ground is barren, continue to be faithful, even when no one notices. For the harvest will surely come, and when it comes, it will overflow beyond what you could ever imagine. Hope that works is the very secret of perseverance in trial. My beloved child, I declare to you that in the storms of life, what keeps you from being swept away is not your own strength or your own wisdom, but the hope I have placed within your heart. We have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure. It enters the inner sanctuary behind the curtain. Heb 6:1-9. As a ship at sea without an anchor is carried away by the waves, So it is with the soul without hope. But when the anchor is dropped, the vessel holds steady amid the currents. Likewise, when you anchor your hope in my promise, you will not be carried away by trials, no matter how fierce the storm may rage. Many see hope as a fragile dream, a faint spark easily extinguished. But I declare to you that true hope is not uncertain, longing, but sure confidence, because it rests upon my unchanging word. Your hope does not rest on circumstances, nor upon people, but upon the one who never breaks his promise. God is not human that he should lie, not a human being that he should change his mind. Num 2:3:1-9. When you set your hope in me, you set it upon the solid rock that cannot be moved. Consider Abraham, to whom it was promised that he would be the father of many nations, though his body and Sarah's were already old and frail. Yet he hoped against all hope. Rom 4:1-8. His hope did not rest upon human ability, but upon my promise. And through that hope he became the father of faith. Learn from Abraham that true hope never fixes its gaze on human limitation, but on the God who knows no limits. Remember Noah. When I told him to build an ark in the dry wilderness, before a single drop of rain had fallen, he persevered in obedience. The people mocked him, calling him foolish. Yet he did not waver, for his hope rested in my word. And when the rain came, that ark became the salvation of his household. Do you see, my child, hope works. Hope turns promise into action. Hope carries you into safety, even in the midst of the flood. I also want you to remember Israel in the desert. They wandered for 40 years, often discouraged and often complaining. Yet I sustained them with manna from heaven, with water from the rock, with a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. I showed them that hope is not an illusion, but a true strength that carries my people from slavery to freedom, from Egypt to the promised land. When you hold on to hope, you will see that I always provide enough for each day so that you may continue the journey. Do not forget, hope does not keep you from the storm, but it keeps you standing in the storm. Hope does not erase your tears, but it transforms those tears into seeds. Hope does not remove waiting, but it turns waiting into an opportunity for faith to take root. When you hope, you may not see the result at once, yet you know with certainty that I am working in the unseen. We walk by faith, not by sight, 2 Cor 5:7. And when you remain steadfast in hope, you will see my promise fulfilled in my appointed time. My child, let hope become the lens through which you see all things. When you face failure, hope will say, "This is not the end, but the stepping stone to a new beginning." When you suffer, hope will say, "This is the furnace that refines you to be pure." When you must wait, hope will say, "This is the season of preparation for something greater." With hope, every circumstance carries meaning, and nothing is wasted. I know there are times when hope feels like a fragile thread, and when you are tempted to let it go. But I declare to you, true hope does not come from you. It comes from me. I am the source of hope. When you are weak, you may ask, and I will pour new hope into you. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Rom 1:5-1-3. You do not have to hold hope in your own strength, but in the presence of my Spirit within you. Hold firmly to hope as a sailor clings to his anchor in the storm. The world may be shaken, but hope in me will never be moved. People may betray, but I do not change. Circumstances may shift, but my promises stand forever. Hope is not a vain dream. It is a holy strength that guards your soul even when all around you collapses. Therefore I call you to let hope guide your every step. Do not hope only in thought, but hope in action. Continue to sow, continue to love, continue to be faithful, for hope will never put to shame those who place their trust in me. Rom 5:5. When you persevere with hope, you will find that you do not merely survive the storm, but grow stronger, mature, and radiant. My beloved child, perseverance is never in vain. Every tear, every wound, every moment you stand firm in the storm is remembered by, and the fruit of such endurance is not only for you but for those around you. When you persevere, you become a witness, a living testimony that faith can overcome all things. Endurance produces character, and character produces hope. And hope does not put us to shame, Rom 5:4-5. Like a tree that blossoms after the harshest winter, so will you bear fruit after the days of trial. Know this: trials do not come to break you, but to transform you. Jacob was once a deceiver, yet after years of wandering, after that night wrestling with God, he became Israel, the chosen one, the bearer of the promise. It was perseverance through trials that turned a weak man into a mighty patriarch. Likewise, Paul was once a persecutor of the church, but after enduring countless hardships, he became the apostle proclaiming the gospel to the nations. Trials turned a wayward man into a herald of truth. And my people, after 70 years of exile, returned to Jerusalem with hearts more humble, more grateful, and more faithful. My child, all these stories reveal this truth. Trials, if you endure, will become the seal of restoration. When you stand firm in trials, your life becomes a source of encouragement to many. Others will look at you and realize that if you can endure, they too can endure. Your testimony will shine as a light to those who wander in darkness. We are comforted in all our afflictions, so that we may be able to comfort those who are in any affliction with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. 2 Corinthians 1:4. Your perseverance does not stop with you. It flows like a stream that refreshes many others. My child, I know there are moments when you think trials only bring sorrow, but I declare to you, sorrow can turn into a song if you let me touch it. Tears can become seeds of joy if you sow them in hope. Failure can become a stepping stone if you learn from it. Nothing is meaningless in my plan. Those who sow in tears will reap with shouts of joy. Psalm 1:2-6-5. Therefore do not despise the days of darkness, for it is from within them that light bursts forth most brightly. Imagine your life as a candle. When the storm winds rise, the flame may flicker, yet if it does not go out, its light becomes all the more precious. In the same way, when you stand firm in hardship, your light shines brighter. Others will find hope through that light. You become living proof that darkness cannot extinguish light, that love is stronger than hatred, that faith is steadier than doubt. This is the fruit of perseverance. I want you to know that this fruit does not appear immediately, but it surely will. Just as the farmer must wait for the harvest, so must you patiently await the outcome, yet in the waiting I am at work. I am shaping your heart, teaching you humility, preparing you for a greater mission, and when the appointed time comes, the fruit will burst forth undeniable to all. My child, let perseverance turn trials into a legacy. Do not let pain end only in tears, but let it become inspiration, strength for the generations to come. When you tell the story of your journey, you are handing others the faith that they too can overcome. When you choose forgiveness, instead of revenge, you break the cycle of hatred. When you choose hope instead of despair, you are sowing the seeds of peace for the future. This is how trials become testimony, and testimony becomes inheritance. My beloved, I declare to you that the reward of perseverance is not only in this life, but also in eternity. Be faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life. Revelation 2:10. Present sufferings are but fleeting, but the glory I have prepared for you is everlasting. Remember, every step you take in perseverance is another stone laid in the crown of splendor reserved for you in heaven. Therefore do not fear trials. Embrace them as opportunities to grow. Do not run from sorrow, but let it become a song. Do not let failure hold you back, but make it a stepping stone toward victory. Do not keep these lessons only for yourself, but share them so that others may also be blessed. Then your life will become a living hymn of hope, a witness that perseverance in trials always bears fruit. And now, after all, I ask that you with me whisper this prayer from the very depths of your heart, Heavenly Father, loving and righteous, one keeper of time and history. Today I bow before you and lift up this sincere prayer about the perseverance you teach and the glorious reward you promise to those who remain steadfast until the very end. O Father, since entering the life of faith, I have tasted countless trials, headwinds, and nights of the soul. There were moments when I longed to give up, to retreat, to sit down in weariness along the way. Yet you reminded me, the one who endures to the end will be saved. Mount 2413. Your word has been like a torch shining through the darkness, reminding me that perseverance is not merely a moral quality, but the very path that leads to eternal salvation. Lord, perseverance means holding fast to faith when everything around me is shaken. Perseverance means pressing forward even when my feet are wounded. Perseverance means fixing my eyes upon the crucified one and letting him be my only strength. Christ Jesus himself walked the way of the cross, enduring mockery, scourging, and death. Yet he did not give up because of his love for you, Father, and for the reward of salvation for all humanity. His cross has become the supreme model of perseverance. Father, at times I am afraid of your seeming delay. I pray for something and see no answer. I long for a miracle, yet heaven seems silent. In such moments, perseverance feels like an unbearable weight. Yet it is then that you remind me of the words of St. Paul, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Gal 6:9. Oh, this promise is like dew falling on parched ground, sustaining hope within my soul. Lord, I offer you the tears of my long nights. I offer you the wounds of being misunderstood, rejected, and despised. I offer you my faltering steps heavy with sorrow. Yet I also entrust to you my conviction that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. Rom 8:1-8. This hope enables me to continue patiently, to stand firm, to sow in tears, so that one day I may reap with shouts of joy. O God, perseverance is not only about enduring, but also about entrusting. When I persevere, I am declaring that I trust you as the faithful one, the one who never abandons me, the one who, having begun a good work in me, will carry it to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. I do not persevere by my own strength, but by the grace of the Spirit who upholds my weakness and intercedes for me with groans too deep for words. Father, teach me to persevere like Job, who lost everything, yet never lost faith. Teach me to persevere like Jacob, who wrestled all night and would not let go until he received a blessing. Teach me to persevere like the apostles, who endured persecution and prison, yet did not abandon the gospel. Teach me to persevere like the martyrs, who bore witness with their blood that love for you is stronger than death. Lord, I know that perseverance always leads to reward. That reward is not always wealth, honor, or success in this life. The reward is your very presence, peace that surpasses all understanding, joy that no one can take away, and ultimately the greatest reward is the crown of glory, eternal life in your presence. As you declared in Revelation, "Be faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life." Rev 2:10. Father, I behold that reward as light at the end of the tunnel. Though darkness thickens, that light still shines. Though the path is rough, that light never fades. It is the promise that you will wipe away every tear from my eyes, that there will be no more death, mourning, crying, or pain, for the old order has passed away. O Father, grant me a steadfast heart that will not quit when prayers remain unanswered. Grant me persevering hands that continue to serve others even in weariness. Grant me steadfast feet to walk the narrow way, even when the world calls me foolish. Grant me a persevering soul that will not waver before temptation, will not doubt under trial, will not falter amid the storm. Lord my God, I also intercede for my brothers and sisters. Some are persevering in faith through long illness. Some are persevering in doing good amid injustice. Some are persevering in raising children in poverty. Some are persevering in prayer for loved ones who have not yet known you. Look upon them, Father, strengthen them, and grant them the reward you have promised. Father, my perseverance is frail, yet you do not despise its littleness. You only ask that I hold fast to the mustard seed of faith, and you will make it grow and bear fruit. You only ask that I be faithful in small things, and you will set me over many. You only ask that I stand firm in the day of trial, and you will place me in eternal glory. Lord, today I engrave upon my heart your promise. If we suffer with him, we shall also be glorified with him. Rom 8:17. I desire to persevere not for my own pride, but for your glory. I desire to persevere not for human praise, but that on the day I see you, I may hear you say, "Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your master." Teach me, O Father, that every trial today is temporary, but the glory to come is eternal. Teach me that every tear shed today is a seed destined to blossom into a harvest of joy. Teach me that perseverance is never in vain, for you are the righteous judge who never forgets the labor of love shown to your name. Lord God, may my life become a hymn of perseverance. May each step I take testify to your faithfulness. May every wound I bear stand as proof that your promised reward is real. And may my final breath resound with the prayer, Father, I trust in you, I persevere in you, I hope in you. I thank you, Father, for never leaving me alone in every trial. I thank you, Father, for turning every hardship into an opportunity to grow. I thank you, Father, for revealing yourself in perseverance and for the eternal joy of the reward to come. O Father, I end this prayer with steadfast hope that one day when the journey of perseverance is complete, I shall see you face to face, receive the crown of life, and enter into the place where there is no darkness but only the everlasting light of your glory. In the name of Jesus Christ, who endured unto the cross and now sits at your right hand, I pray. Amen. Thank you for listening to today's message. Please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that together we may continue to receive the living word, build unshakable faith, and walk in the boundless love of God. Amen.